You're listening to episode 93, Expert Advice Every Parent Should Know from an Occupational Therapist. Hello, my friends. Welcome to another 12-minute talk. My name is Katie. I am a certified child life specialist. And this week we've got another quick little episode for you, but I get to introduce you to Ashley, who I actually met on Instagram. Her handle is @AshTheOT. And she offers so many goodness and nuggets and relatable ways to work with your child. So I just had to have her on the podcast. She's from Chicago, and she primarily works independently with kids in intervention programs ages 0 to 3. And she works on everything from play to daily life skills. And she gets to see kids both in their homes and in private community settings. So I think she's just got a lot of expertise to offer. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Ashley. So the first question is really easy. Just tell us about you and who you are and how you got into the occupational therapy world and what you're doing now.
Sure. So my name is Ashley McGaughy. I am currently a pediatric occupational therapist, and I've been in this field for 8 years now. And I currently work in the Illinois Early Intervention Program, which serves children from the ages of 0 to 3. And as far as how I got into OT, it was very interesting because, like a lot of OTs, I did not know what it was, or that it even existed. Up until I think it was my last year in undergrad, I was actually getting ready to graduate, and we had I was in psychology class, and we were talking about child development, and one of my professors kind of mentioned it, just like conversation. And she was just telling me, like, her best friend was an occupational therapist that worked with children, and they designed all these cool, like, adaptive spoons for kids. And I was like, what is that? I want to look further into that because I loved working with children, loved to do something in, like, healthcare, but I didn't know exactly what. So that's when I kind of started doing my research on occupational therapy, and then I started shadowing. And I thought it was a really cool profession because I got to use like my science background along with like my creative side and my love to work with children. And so it kind of all just came together.
Oh, that's so cool. I feel like you just described a lot of what child life specialists go through as well. It's kind of that, like, I never heard of it. I want to be in the medical setting, work with children. Like, what is that called? And how do I do that?
Exactly.
So you have the kind of added bonus too of going actually into your clients' homes and kind of getting this, I feel like therapy is really great when you're at home because you're using what's around you. And we've got a lot of parent ears listening here. So what are some things you've learned from families that work really well in terms of having efficient occupational therapy that's really beneficial in the home?
So I will say the thing that I've learned as well as that I've taught to other parents is basically like your home is therapy every day. No matter what you're doing, you can kind of turn it into an activity that will help your child. So you can use your couch, for example, and turn it into like a little jungle gym with obstacle courses and like jumping and crashing into the cushions to provide kiddos with input if they need it. If you are, if your child needs a little bit more help with fine motor skills, you can actually have your child help you in the kitchen while you're cooking. So just those day-to-day activities can be some of the most like therapeutic activities that anyone can benefit from. And I like it, especially in the homes. The clinics are great too, but that home environment is where the child spends most of their time. So if, I could educate the parents on just different ways that they can use what they already have, I think it translates that much better. And it just helps the parents feel more empowered and more aligned with helping their own child.
Yeah, I think that's so good. And also just empowering parents. Like, you're probably already doing therapeutic activities with your kids just by this really simple thing that feels very normal.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I feel like parents have shared that they want to be their child's mom or dad, not their therapist. But just so naturally that relationship, has benefits too without feeling like you have to onboard something else. You're already doing it.
Exactly. And I feel like once parents are like, ha, like, oh, that's what you guys are doing. Like, I feel like there's a light bulb that goes off. Like, they're like, okay, it's not so much like therapy as far as what they're thinking. It's just like you're doing everyday activities, which is basically what occupational therapists focus on, is helping that child to engage and participate in those everyday activities. But, just kind of focusing or tweaking certain things to kind of help that child progress in whatever area that they need assistance with.
Okay, gotcha. And what do you think works best for kids? Like, is there like one maybe activity or therapy you do that always gets really great engagement and good feedback?
I would say a lot of the children that I work with do really, really well with like movement and like music related activities, especially if we're working later on things that require a lot more focus, like fine motor skills or handwriting or those self-care skills. I find that if you can kind of get the child moving and get them up dancing or singing songs with you, it makes the child, more focused and kind of more regulated so that they can later on focus on those more structured activities.
Got it. And when you're with a child in a home, do you like for the parent to be very present and engaged, or do you like for them to watch? Or like, how much is too much? How much is not enough? What's the sweet spot?
So I like for the parents to definitely be present and engaged, but honestly, it definitely depends on the child because there are some children that I've worked with, if mom and dad are in the room, they're not attending or listening at all. So at that case, then I'll kind of have the parent to kind of back off a little bit, but still be present. But for the most part, yes, I definitely would say I definitely agree that parents should definitely be present and be engaging, because when I'm gone from the session, then they'll know exactly what to do and what to carry over.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I bet a lot of parents are like, could you stay for the whole day? Like maybe just spend the night, just a couple weeks.
Exactly.
Oh. Do you have any fun or kind of surprising moments about being an occupational therapist that maybe you didn't anticipate coming into the field and working with families?
I would say working with children, as an occupational therapist, you are definitely more so working with the parent. And that's something that I learned back when I was working at the hospital in the clinic setting. I realized that, wait a minute, I know I'm working with this child, but I have to definitely have the parent on board too. Because if not, there's no translation, there's no carryover. And so even though you're working with the children, you definitely have to have the parent or the caregiver or whoever is involved in that child's life on the team as well and on board. And so I take a lot of pride with communicating with not only the parents, but if there's a nanny involved or a daycare provider or a teacher involved, whoever is involved in that child's life, I try to communicate with all of them so that we kind of all are on the same page and working towards the same goals for that child.
Oh, I think that's really, really good advice for parents to hear. Is like, it's not just all on you. Like, I feel like a lot of times it's the parent feeling like I'm the only one responsible, but there are other adults, very trusted adults in your child's life. So look for those people too.
Exactly.
What's your favorite part of being an occupational therapist?
I would say my favorite part is the variety and the diversity. No day is the same, especially working with children. They're so little, but they all have such big personalities and such different personalities. And so every day I wake up and I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen today. Like no day is predictable at all. And so I feel like that is what kind of keeps me on my toes. And then also I would say I really feel like special just to have that ability to have some type of impact in a child's life, no matter how big or small it is, to know that I played a small role in their life really just fires me up inside. So I find that really special about being an OT.
Oh, well, you're definitely a person I would want in my home. And I'm sure that just comes across, whenever you meet a family. So part of the reasons I wanted to interview Ashley is because I think you have so much great absorbable content for parents. How can we follow along with you and learn from you and just see all the good things you're doing?
Yes, so I am currently on Instagram at Ash the OT, so ASHTHEOT. And that's where I kind of share some of my content and education for parents revolving around like sensory and child development. I also have a YouTube channel, and that is where I go a little bit more into detail and share video resources to also help parents to get a better understanding of some of the sensory and child development issues that come along. I'm on Facebook, but I'm not as active on Facebook, but I am on there too as Ash the OT. So all three of those platforms is where you can find me.
Okay, great. And so thank you so much for being here. And are there any last things that you would want to share with parents since you have their ears right now?
Yes. So one thing I would want to share to parents is to definitely go with your gut when it comes to your child. Just being in this field and working with so many families, I've heard a lot of stories where they felt like something just wasn't right or something was wrong, and they didn't really know what to do. And so I would say definitely seek out your pediatrician or your primary healthcare provider if you feel that something is kind of not right with your child. And even so, sometimes parents have told me that they have sought out the pediatrician and they've mentioned their concerns, but the pediatrician will say, oh, maybe they'll just outgrow it. And that very well may be true. But if you want a second opinion, I would say definitely go for it, because it's better to just kind of get those things addressed and looked at earlier than later, and the sooner the better. So I would say trust your gut and trust your instincts, especially because you are the expert of your own child, even though we all are out here as OTs and pediatricians and all these other professionals. But at the end of the day, you're with your child 24/7, and you know your child better than anyone else. So I would say trust your gut. That's my word of advice.
I think that's really nice to hear, especially from medical providers, because sometimes moms, I know myself especially, I'm like, am I just being the crazy mom right now? Like, so you just don't want to be perceived that way. But truly, like you said, I know my child better than anybody else. So I may as well explain how I'm feeling to a medical professional that can listen.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. And we just really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Katie. I really appreciated it. And I hope this helps someone out there.
Oh, I definitely know it will. So if you want more of Ashley, which I know that you do, she has a YouTube channel and an Instagram, and you'll find her at Ash, ASH, the THEOT. Super simple, Ash the OT. Thanks so much for being here, and we will see you next week with another parent story.